This is Louie Zumbaugh with Rush Hour Ag. Leave your message after the tone.
Hey, Louie, it's Elliott Henderson. Can't wait to tell you about
rolling down the back road, truth riding with the dust, talking agriculture policy with people you can trust. From the field to the Capitol, we're breaking it down. Real talk, real issues from a real farm town. Every hour's rush hour when the work won't wait, so we're cutting through the noise and setting things straight.
What's your rush today, Elliott? Welcome to Rush Hour Ag, everybody. I'm your host, Louie Zumbaugh, and
I'm your host, Elliott Henderson.
yeah, we're here in the podcast studio at Coggin, Iowa, and I just come in from the field, and we got one day left. And Elliott, you got done?
Was that yesterday morning? I think it was when I was talking to you.
Till like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning we finished, and when we were putting the head on the cart, it started raining. So
Really?
it was kind of like, it was a really nice, good feeling to be done. So.
Yeah, so I guess this one's going to be a little bit of a wrap up on harvest. So What was good? What was bad? Anything exciting happen?
I don't know, just feel like maybe I got my licks in shoveling spilled corn.
Oh, yeah?
But, yeah,
Well, tell us about that.
Oh, I don't know. We had, one of the big leg has had some problems here the last couple of days where I don't know if that motor up there is drawing too many amps. So we closed it down so it ain't feeding it as fast. So that one backlegged, and then we were filling a wet bin with the other pit, and we weren't really watching the indicators like we should have been on the wet bin, and got a little full. And then we were transferring corn here this morning because we're still drying, and I went back home for a while, and I probably stayed home a little too long, but it must have got done transferring as like the downspout was full because the leg didn't back leg, but there's corn on the ground around that wet bin. So
Really? Well,
if that's as bad as it gets, it'll be all right. But yeah, it's just,
is it cement underneath?
There's cement underneath.
That won't be so bad to pick up. So, well, we didn't have anything. We had a pretty uneventful harvest. We had, a few breakdowns and nothing real serious, I guess. Everything was a long ways from its heart.
I think last time we taped, you were getting stuff in the bean head. So
Yeah,
I
had a little bit of that. And we had a lot of down corn, so that's what's been taking us so long. It just takes longer to fix it. And we had our first number of corn that didn't pollinate. So we'll get into that and some other issue. And had the agronomist out, but we haven't met with the seed corn company yet. So
I know, like over in Brown Independence too, there's been some issues with corn not getting pollinated. And it's like 100 plus bushel off of where it could be.
A good 50.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. They might come up to the plate. But other than that, the government's been shut down, so
it has.
I haven't really seen that affected me personally.
Yeah, me neither.
Too much.
I didn't really notice it. I know on my socials I see a lot of the EBT stuff, and they were going to riot this weekend, or storm the stores and steal everything. But
oh, really?
Yeah,
Where at?
I don't know. Atlanta. So I was talking to my wife was talking to a good friend of hers down in the middle of Georgia area there, and I think they shut the Walmarts down there and only allowed for grocery pickup.
Really?
Because all the hype about them wanting to come and steal everything out of them stores.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that. I've been kind of glued to the equipment. So
yep.
Yeah. So I haven't heard that, but I did notice on Facebook a couple people, they're kind of confused in my opinion. There's a lady running for the state Senate, I believe, to fill a spot in Iowa that was all worked up about it. This is a national issue. It's not the state of Iowa didn't shut this down.
You're talking about the government shut down these payments.
It's shut down because, from what I understand, a clean bill that comes from the Biden era, the Democrats won't pass it. And they're trying to say the Republicans won't pass it. Well, they need, a half a dozen Democrats to flip over, get 60 votes or something like that. And I actually did type back that, I think the governor is matching $1 million to food banks or something, and she's stepping up to help, the state of Iowa to help do that. And man, you would have thought I was public enemy number one from a couple people on there, but well, the fact is the truth hurts.
Yeah.
It's not a state issue. the governor didn't have to do anything.
Well,
And
do you remember a couple weeks ago when like the military wasn't getting paid and, some private enterprise picked up the tab for a few weeks? Where's Bezos at? Where are the big food processing companies at that have been making a lot of money over the years, stepping up and saying, hey, we'll help out here a little bit? I ain't heard it.
Well, I've seen that on Facebook too. I should stay off of there. Don't make it true just because you see it on Facebook. But listen, I don't think I saved it, and I didn't recognize the guy's name. But he had a whole thing on there, and it might have been one of them other deals, or Real or X. I'm not sure. I call it all Facebook. But anyway, yeah, I'm not very technical if you haven't figured that out yet.
Well, before the show started, we were working on X. So
yeah. Anyway, he was stating, and he's kind of right. Really, most of America's on the. I don't want to say on the take, but
40-some million people are on.
Yeah, but not only that's on food and SNAP,
yeah.
but he's gone into saying, the government hands out all this money throughout everywhere, including agriculture.
Yes.
But it all floats back to what some of our episodes have been about, and we're probably going to go there today a little bit. It all floats back that we're just pass-through people, regardless of what you're doing for a living and where you're at. We're pretty much pass-through people to the big corporations, because they hand that money out. You end up going to there's not too many mom and pop grocery stores left. There's a few in the small towns, and I'm glad to have them. But you get to the big cities, it's mostly whatever big brand is there. The Walmarts, the Targets, gets pushed back to the ADMs, the General Millses, it's all just the people are kind of a pass through of government money.
Well, that's what, a lot of
I know as a farmer, we're going to take backlash for saying it that way, and we're part of it.
Yeah, but like this farming thing too, I hear a lot of people talk about, well, without these subsidy programs, we wouldn't have cheap food in America. And it's like, I don't believe that these subsidy programs are cheap food generators. They're cheap input generators for the manufacturers of food. They're not.
I think it was cheap food too. They kept you producing more than what you needed to. Which
but
keeps
today, do you think it's really that way? You think we still?
Well, I think it's gotten past that now to where there's so few people making food. We hit that last week with that farmer from Illinois. We got talking about the beef market and all that. Yep. There's so few people in that business that they don't have to be cheap anymore.
Well, like I think about like a Pepsi, a can of Pepsi or whatever. Corn went to $6-7. Maybe Pepsi went up a little bit. I don't know. I don't remember it really going up. Corn's back down to $4. Did the soda pop come back down? No.
No, I'm a popaholic, unfortunately.
But like,
trust it pops.
So like,
up.
All right, it's cheap. Is it really? Is the cheap commodity, the corn syrup going into that really affecting the price of the product? I don't think so. I think it just makes for better margins for these processors.
Yeah, well, I will say that I think one thing that raised to the mass inflation that we had was everything in America's trucked. And most of it's trucked several times.
Sure.
From a raw material till the finished product. And when you decide that we have to have all these other forms of energy, and that for whatever reason, which now they're coming out and pretty much saying, yeah, this ain't, climate change maybe ain't the big deal that we thought it was. And even Bill Gates has come out and changed his tune. So, but when you start adding in all that trucking and you start pumping in all them fuel surcharges, because fuel is higher than that's where inflation came from, I think. That's a big part of it.
Sure.
It's just the transportation and
some of it. I don't really think that's where sure, the food thing or the consumer goods. Yeah, you bet. I'm with you on that. But like the real inflation, I think it came in the form of asset prices and asset values and the profits that people were able to make, and wages did go up during COVID. So like people started making more money, but it all just got plowed into assets, I think. But now there's just ain't enough money to go around for people. 40-some million people on food stamps in this country. That's a real problem.
How many of them are illegal? Do you have any idea?
isn't it the majority of them?
I don't know. And
So like
fine if
they had
I-
some statistics that showed, like these refugees from Afghanistan, Iraq, it's the majority of those people that are refugees or not citizens yet are major consumers of that program.
if you came here illegally, you're not a refugee.
I
illegal
agree,
alien.
but
I
yeah,
mean,
so I didn't
If
answer
you,
your
if you
question.
are a true refugee, that is different
Right.
than if you're an illegal alien.
But the problem is that it's an acceptable culture to come here and then be on the system, and it's perfectly fine. Like these people are having a problem assimilating to a 9 to 5. We assimilated our culture to that. I don't know when Henry Ford created the assembly line, but I think it's really hard then for people that don't come from this culture to be able to just function in this world. So these programs are there for them, and they function with that program, and we enable that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, fortunately my family's not on them programs and I mean that. That's very fortunate, and I feel bad for the ones that are counting on it. And all I was trying to get at was that I'm grateful that the governor is trying to help out, but people need to realize it's not a state issue, it's a federal issue.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's just,
I think we talked about it when Lance was here too. It's like how many of these programs are things that people need, and how many of these programs are conveniences. I
Sure,
think
and
a lot of them are conveniences.
people need housing, need shelter and food and I don't know. I'm not an expert on what other programs we have. So
Well, you're a politician, so like how much these programs, and I'll call it a convenience. We can call it whatever we want, but how many of these things are really things that politicians want to see continue simply for the fact that it garners them votes?
well, that's what this whole thing's probably about.
I think so.
Boils right down into it, and
So I mean, it's a real thing.
but
It's a real problem.
The sad part is that this is the same bill, no extras whatsoever, that they voted on several times before when they were in the majority. And, you can watch them all sit there and talk about how, you shouldn't shut the government down. You shouldn't shut the government down. It's the very same people that are not willing to vote for this bill that they voted for last time. And it's
So,
just kind
like,
of disgusting.
Even the last time when they had this bill, it had the stuff for like the transgender stuff in Iraq.
No, they're trying to. No,
they're trying to get that
They're
out.
trying to add that all back in because they,
And that's what they will sign it if they can get that in.
we got like $1 trillion.
Yes, sir.
To a bunch of stuff to go to other countries for
Social
and they want to get their
things, too.
NGOs back going because of what appears to be the
money laundering.
well, whatever you'd like to call it.
Yeah, the kickback program, the bonus program.
Yeah. I'm still at awe at the stuff that they've come up with, and that people are still supportive of the group that has been doing that. It's like, you gotta be kidding me.
I don't know.
You know?
It's very public what's going on now, and people are okay with that.
I think, I don't know. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
And it's sad, and that's our tax dollars, and it just makes you wonder why we pay in what we pay in because, and it's just disgusting on the people that have been there that long that have taken part in it. And I don't know. I don't know. Let's I don't know what else we got going on. We kind of left our harvest issues, but I did not have a banner crop.
Yeah.
If the government is counting on our farm to come up with all their bushels, they're going to be sadly mistaken. But we had that tornado and that bad weather come through on July 11th, and it took its toll. And I think a lot of my neighbors that live close to me, we'd get to fields that looked great, and you'd be shocked when you got in there with the combine. But by far, one of our worst farms where it didn't pollinate. But
Well, it was strange on our farm because it seemed like the poor farms did better than they should have, and the better farms did poorer than they should have.
too much water.
Too much water for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of nighttime heat temps that were higher than we probably thought they were too. I think that affected us some.
Yeah.
But
no doubt.
I don't know. As far as like, I know we're not as good as we were last year, and we're not as good as we were the year before that. So trend line, and what this nation, what USDA thinks we're going to have, I don't think we're going to be that high. I just don't think that. I don't know when they're going to realize it, but
I agree. I don't know when they're going to figure it out, but I'm probably one of the last ones to get done around here. A lot of my neighbors been done for a few days, but we'll get done tomorrow if everything holds together.
Yeah.
So, and
we still got guys
good.
bringing in grain at the grain setup too. So there's still guys running. There's still acres out there. So we got some questions from some of our listeners here, and they're wondering, are we starting to see any relief to some of these prices on inputs for next year? What are you seeing? Have you had time to?
Well, our we got a shipment of LP in. We buy bulk LP. It was definitely lower price than what we'd paid for when we started. So, and my supplier said, yeah, that LP is just not going out. We're still drying corn. It's coming in at 16.9 to 17.5%. Wouldn't have to dry it, but I don't know how long it's going to be here on the farm. And I'm bird in the hands or two in the bush, and I'd rather put it in the bin dry.
Right.
And it dries pretty fast. It's been nice out. And, when we start early and it's 90, 80, 90 degrees, I know people think, oh, you're crazy. Well, the first 80, 90 degrees is free. So I don't mind doing that. But so LP definitely has come down. Our last, same thing with fuel. We buy fuel bulk. So I don't know if that's come down. I mean, what we pay buying bulk is by far cheaper than if you're getting 500 gallons at a time. So I don't have anything to judge that by because we haven't bought any for a little while. But our second load was cheaper than our first load. So, and I bit the bullet on nitrogen quite a while ago. So that's done. We haven't started yet. Some of my neighbors have. We'll probably start at the end of this week. But I don't think fertilizers come down in that I've heard. How about you?
I have not been. I've been so busy keeping shit going that I have not been making calls on.
Your site in town uses natural gas.
It is. It's on the pipe.
So is that on a variable rate, or it's just a rate that you?
It's just a rate. Yeah, we just pay the rate. We've never been able to prepay it. I don't think it works like that.
You can go out though and you can hedge it.
We can hedge it. Yeah,
you do that?
We don't.
No. Yeah, I know the county started doing that when I was a supervisor. We started doing that, and it wasn't necessarily. It was a 2 or 3 year deal at a time. I don't remember all the details, and it wasn't so much so we were going to get it a whole lot cheaper, maybe, but we would know what our cost was,
right?
And that was important,
right?
As a supervisor. But that's important here too. Know what your costs are. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not. We're not that large of an outfit either. Where I don't know. I don't think we're going through that many gallons. I don't know if a contract would cover the amount of gallons we're going through. So I have to probably look into that some more.
Okay. So I guess in a nutshell, yeah, some prices have come down, but not all of them. And fertilizers, they're hanging in there. I haven't priced a tractor lately, but I don't imagine it's come down any. However, I did see some long-term cheap interest from a couple dealers.
What color?
Red.
Red equipment.
Yeah, but cheap interest is doesn't really mean much if you're paying the extraordinary price for it. So I did not.
I thought you were going to say cash because you pay cash for everything.
Well, cash is king. Cash is king. I'm just saying, I don't know that the tractor was. I didn't look into it. I just seen it on an ad.
Right.
It was several months or several years worth of months for 0%.
And it was it like odd size equipment or just regular road?
I never went in and looked too much. It wasn't anything I was really looking for.
Right.
The 0% interest for like 72 months caught my eye. It's like
on new.
That's a long time. I believe it was new. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't, like I said, I didn't go in and look. I've seen some 5.9s, maybe 4.9 on some used equipment.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we're in the market for is we're in the market for anything that's priced right. So I guess I shouldn't say the only thing, but I've never found a Ford pickup I didn't like. So,
so the next question that came in is, with the election chatter heating up, do you think ag policy is getting enough airtime or just being used as a soundbite?
Oh, that's a good one. When you got here, you started asking me if I watched the Senate hearing.
Yep.
Which I didn't.
Yep.
But you were telling me about it, and so yeah, it's getting some attention. Is it a soundbite? I think that depends on what happens. I mean, beans were big talk, and now we got to deal with Russia, and beans kind of fell off the wayside. So I'll be curious whether this bean
Yeah, like the trade deal.
happens,
That Senate hearing happened before the
trade
talks concluded there, and it's before they put this bean package together. So
Sure.
I guess if that happens, then no, it ain't a soundbite. It should be reality if they actually ship the cargo.
But when you were talking to me about it, you also said it was about corporations and
Yeah, antitrust. Yeah.
That's been going on for a lot of years. So I'm glad they're finally concerned about it. That's about all I can say.
Yeah, and the thing, I guess, on that part of it, sure, I think it'll be a soundbite, and I'll be really disappointed. But if the DOJ does take action on this, then we'll see some fruits of our labor. If the DOJ takes some action and has some rulings on how these big corporations are operating, if they can find some unfair practices that have been occurring, which I fully intend they should be able to find something.
I find most of the time when they do find something, so little trickles back to the actual producer. What they have, just a few years ago, they had a big antitrust. I don't know if it was antitrust, but there was a big lawyer thing it was about the price of grain.
Oh yeah, you're talking about a class action lawsuit there on wasn't it? There was some contamination or something of the grain that went to Asia, and
I think it was Europe.
Okay,
had something to do with Europe, and they were quite a bit less. It changed the futures market, and boy, there was a lot of hoops to jump through, and all of a sudden, in the end, you were with that lawyer, that firm, and I don't know that it ever produced a penny to the actual producer.
Trying to think of what the trait was, but it was a Syngenta product, and that was like what, 17, 18, something like that.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But I'm just using that as an example of somebody come out and shook the bush, and nothing fell on very little fell on the actual producer.
Right. Lawyers all got rich.
Well, they got wealthier anyway. So, do I hope the Department of Justice finds something that says, hey, you know what? You can't retweak Roundup every time the patent comes up, so you can't. I mean, just all that stuff just gets old.
Well, that was the one thing in that Senate hearing that I think Mr. Latham was talking about. And there's like a trait package. I think it's NK603. It's a glyphosate tolerant trait package. It's been off patent since 2022, and they've still been charging royalties to farmers for it.
Really?
Yep.
And just because they can, or because nobody questions it?
I'm guessing. I don't know. I want the answer too, Louie. I don't know what's going on there.
And is it such old technology nobody would plant it anymore anyway?
I don't.
I'm just.
I
you're supposed to know, Al.
Well, from what I can gather, if Mr. Latham was bringing that up, and that's something I was really surprised to hear, and I'm so glad that he talked about it. Was I didn't really have that full comprehension of how these independent seed companies are really operating. At the end of the day, they're just really at the mercy of these, a few couple, like the Syngentas, the Bayers, the Cortevas of the world. They're really at the mercy of what they want to dictate.
Sure.
So it's like they're like I don't know. Even these independent seed companies, as independent as they are really anything more than a glorified sharecropper for these big conglomerates?
It still gives the farmer that wants to be totally independent. You're not totally independent, but you're independent of big name. So, and there's still people out there that want to be.
Well, and that was one thing, like the Latham guy was, and I didn't realize that either, but like he was able to like really hone in on what the customers needed. So like if there's a bad disease problem here, or corn rootworm's a problem here, they can focus more on those traits to breed, to make more of that seed. But really they're just making more of it. They're letting the pollen fall on the female, and then they're selling that female seed to us. Well, they're kind of just acting to me like a sharecropper to these big people. They're selling their product to us. They're just able to be a little more intimate with us than what the big guys can be.
Yeah, well, I hate to call them a sharecropper, but
I know it's not a very.
I think they provide a product that's unique, oftentimes, and a little different. although they're paying the big company. I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't think they're sharecroppers at all. I think, but there's not enough of them. I mean, the big companies have bought up so many small ones.
But that, like, one of the things he was talking about was like, there's a lot of times when they don't even know the price until after they've already harvested it. So like they go in and they pick out whatever they pick out from the big companies, and until the big company realizes how lucrative it's going to be for them, that's when they'll hammer them with the price. And it's like, that's so messed up. No wonder everything's screwed up.
We have a lot of messed up things in this world. That we just add that one to the list. So what else you got?
Next question is, how do you see federal or state transportation rules, for example, hours of service, weight limits, et cetera, or anything else that you've got playing into harvest logistics?
Well, the one thing that I learned at the Grassroots Summit, I don't know if you caught this or not, and I don't know the gentleman that brought it up, but he was talking about Interstate 80, and they're actually doing it on 35 also. They're tearing out a lot of overpasses.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so when you start tearing out these overpasses, that can create quite a few more miles of driving for a farmer that maybe farms on both sides of the interstate. Most of them probably do. So I think that's a problem if they're not going to put those overpasses back in.
So you thought like on 35 there was around Huxley, right? That was one of the ones really.
There's several in a row that I don't know if they're taking them out, if they're going to put them back in. I know they're putting one of them back in.
Okay.
But you know, the one day I was going out to Slater, I knew I couldn't get off on 35, so I thought, well, I'll just cut off here early and I'll go down, and as long as I'm working my way south and west, I'm all right. Well, hell, I'd probably put on 50 miles I didn't need to if I would just took 30 into Ames and went south.
You wouldn't want to do that with too many loads of corn then.
No. So I think that's an issue. I know there's a lot of farmers that get, I know one that thought he was going to change federal law and haul 90,000 down I-380. Yeah, that don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the governor's proclamation does not affect interstates.
So like those interstates, if we do we maintain them. Like the state of Iowa maintains.
Yeah,
that.
The federal government probably pays.
They just pay so much for us to do that. And if we decided we didn't want to take the money anymore, we could do whatever we want with them, you think, or not?
I doubt it.
Okay.
They were put in, I think Eisenhower got the interstate.
Yep, that's who started this.
I assume it had something to do with
this military
reasons, yeah. So I doubt that we can say, yeah, we're going to do this now and we don't want anything to do with you. And that's one of the things that well, it happens, you know, it happens all the time in other things. Maybe the state don't like what a county is going to do. So, all right, if you're going to continue to do that, we're not going to fund it.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same
process. That's my question. Like if we decided we didn't want to follow those rules.
Sure. Then they're not going to fund you and you can't afford to fund it.
Okay.
So sure. You're just kind of stuck. As far as we license our truck with that new bill that came out a couple of years ago. So we license all our semis to haul the extra. So, and with the 90,000 on there, but we have a couple farms that we haul right to town, right to Cedar Rapids, and we actually, we only hauled them at the 80,000.
Yep.
Would you got caught? Probably not, but it's a lot cheaper just to haul it legal.
So like when we haul from Blackhawk County to Buchanan County, there is a stretch of 380 there, right?
Yep.
And Highway 20. And 380 exists for a couple of miles there on Highway 20.
Yes.
So you could haul 90,000 on 20, but that's kind of a gray area there. Who's that?
Well, actually, no.
It's
380 is not. 380 ends at Highway 20. It becomes 218, doesn't it?
You might be right.
Yeah, I think it becomes
218.
Because if you're going south, it becomes 218.
I hope you're right.
380 does not exist the whole. When you're south of Iowa City, doesn't 380 become 380 is only from Cedar Rapids to 20, I think. I think it's 218 going.
No, 380 would go to Iowa City.
Yeah, I know, but I think south of Iowa City it's 218.
Yep.
I think it's 218 north of when it hits 20. I think it becomes I think 380 is only
that's that overpass is is the end of
You know, if you get pulled over, you just tell them, hey, my co-host Louie Zumbaugh thinks it's this way. And see how that, I don't know if it'll get you anywhere, but you can try it.
Yeah, I'll try that. Sure, they'll have other things that they can
Oh, yeah,
do.
yeah. So I know that it makes a big difference with farm equipment, whether it's a minimum access road or not.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's
20, if you get on Highway 20 at Manchester and you're heading east, you're good.
I've seen more people running tractors down Highway 20 from like Manchester over to 35 in the last couple of years on Sundays, more than I.
Well, Sunday's a good day to do that at. Yeah,
Must be.
Yeah, it's a good day to drive down.
Yeah, we don't condone that, but it.
Well, you know, I don't condone it. I may know
Yeah.
someone that's done it. But
Right.
Sunday's a good day to make some travel arrangements for some things.
Right.
Or holiday. Holidays are good too. Well, Elliott, I know we got listeners from out of state, and I think I shared this story last week or the week before about getting caught in East Dubuque with the trucks and how we didn't pass federal law. We were all right with the state law. So no matter what state you're in, enter at your own risk, I guess. And if you're going to Illinois, from what I understand, after the wee hours of the night, it's going to cost you more. Because I heard there that they're raising taxes big time to go to Chicago on road tax and fuel tax, and I don't know, and any tax they come up with. But anyway.
All right, Louie, next question's about fall tillage, cover crops. What's that look like for you guys here on your farm?
We haven't done our cover crop yet. We haven't got I usually do cover crop if I do it where we haul hog manure from the hog site, and we haven't got that done yet either. But as far as our tillage, which would be corn on corn, we're not exactly caught up to the combine, but we're not too far behind. So we're getting our fertilizer on, even though a couple episodes ago I said I wasn't buying any. I broke down and bought some. How about you?
That'll be a good thing for listeners to hear, because I've had a couple of conversations with listeners that are like, that Louie, he's gonna buy fertilizer. He says he's not gonna buy it, but I bet he buys it. So you heard it here first. He did buy it.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of strip tilling, so we haven't done any strip tilling. We usually do that in the spring. I actually just slung the last bit of rye out before I came here, and I think I had the monitor said I had like a couple 100 pounds. I'm like, I ain't got time to go burn this off. So it's parked right now with like 200 pounds of rye in it still. So when I get back in it, I'll burn that off.
So you spin it on?
We did. That's the first year we've done all of it. We're going to spin it all out, and then we're just going to like vertical till it in. Yeah. So
that's how I do mine.
It's pretty simple, stupid. So I think we're going to probably end up doing more of that. I kind of wish we'd have done more earlier, but it just worked out this way that it all got done.
Oh yeah, I've seen some beautiful cover crop. It's pretty tall. And I take that back. Some of our corn that we'd combined early, especially where the big winds and tornado went through, I had a very nice cover crop of volunteer corn. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I should apply for the cover crop.
I was wondering, is corn a
Is it grass?
Is it an approved cover crop species? I wonder.
It's grass.
I thought if it got cheap enough, why don't we just use the corn?
Yeah. Well,
or soybeans got cheaper. Use that.
We had corn probably 6-8 inches tall before it froze off. It was quite impressive.
Yeah.
That's where the worst of the neighbors' buildings went tumbling across the farm, and it was pretty nasty. But so that's kind of my assessment. But I know there's a lot of cover cropping on. It looks good that I've seen coming up. And
I'm thinking about going back out with some oats. We harvested some oats last year, and I'm thinking about going back out on top of where I feel like doing it with some of these oats, and just kind of trying to thicken that stand up with some oats.
Sure. And
have you ever used any oats before?
I haven't, but it doesn't count for the program.
No, it won't. It'll
and
just be something
too bad
I do on my own.
Because my biggest pet peeve with cover crop is getting it killed in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And if they'd let you use oats, it would take care of itself.
There's a lot of benefits from what I read about oats for the soil, more above and beyond most any of these other cover crop seeds.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't read anything up on it. I just like the fact that it'd be dead in the spring.
All right.
And that looked like a good route to go to me. And oats are usually fairly easy to find and not terribly expensive. So from my my point of view of looking around here, and I've been stuck in the combine, so I've been a lot of places. Is a lot of people have it on, and
I did make a TikTok this week.
Did you?
Filling the which I don't know. I hate doing that stuff, but yeah, I did make one filling the cover crop seeder there at the grain site.
I don't make TikToks. I put a couple pictures out. I had a great crew helping me today. Zach, my oldest grandson, he come out to help man the combine. I told him this is probably his last ride for the year, so that was good. And then my youngest one, LJ, he come out to ride, and then we saved the best for last. And then my wife Deb come out and made a few rounds in the combine. So the only person I was missing was Rachel. My youngest daughter never come out and rode with me this year, but no, now she's. Well, yeah, you did. You're right.
So he did forget.
Well,
he did forget the story he told last week too.
I am getting older.
I was literally the first person to come ride with him.
I think you were.
See where you stand now, don't you?
Rude. Okay.
Okay. Well, I had my 60th birthday, and the stuff's just hitting the fan. I can't remember. I tell the story. You're gonna have to hold your fingers up when I, heard it once, heard it twice.
Yeah, that's right. We need to come up with an operating procedure for that.
Oh, I'm getting a note that no, corn is not considered a cover crop. Or dandelions. How about that? Remember when dandelions used to be big in the no-till beans and you no-tilled your beans?
No, I don't.
Oh, we used to get a lot of dandelions. Yeah, they really didn't.
It's like how big would they get?
No, they did. I mean, they just
Like right when they germinated.
they were easy to kill and
Yeah.
but boy, you'd get a lot of them.
All right, Louie. Last question.
All right, shoot.
Listeners wondering, are we seeing a disconnect widen between what DC thinks farmers need and what they actually need?
Well, that's a good question. That's a wide array of that takes in so much, but I think we see a big disconnect in what different farmers think they need. Not only by region, I mean just right back here, we were talking about not that long ago. Do we need to be helped out because of high commodity price or high input costs and low commodity prices? Or do we wish that nobody would get anything and just have a level playing field that way? That can be different between the next 5 people that walk in my shop door. One wants the government to stay in it and one wants the government out. And the only thing I would say on a personal basis, I don't have any problem with the government getting out, but I don't think they can just get out cold turkey. Or if they're going to stay in, they need to go back and limit the structure on what you can get, which I think they made it easier to have more identities now.
Yeah, they did.
And that's just ridiculous, But these are just my opinions, so take them for what they're worth. But I think part of the misconception in Washington is basically they get that from their own constituents because the constituents themselves don't agree.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, and I don't like talk about pipeline all the time, but look at that. I don't want to say I took a 180 on it, but I damn near took a 180 on it because you know what? And granted, I'm a firm believer that everybody has a price. And if they changed IUB and widen that out to where Elliott could say yes if Louie didn't want it, that it could go through and still be a viable option. Whereas, before Representative Munson got here and talked about it, the governor should have signed that. So I'm just using that as an example of, we can't even get along on there's just so many things we just don't agree on with other producers. And it's kind of sad, but everybody has their own needs and their own wants. And for me, I'd like them to get out. I think I'm like a lot of other producers. I've done things based on what was happening. I think it needs to be a little softer than just see ya.
Right. I don't know. I guess at this point I'm kind of in the burn it all down camp. It's like if it's cold turkey, let's rip the Band-Aid off. But I get it. It's probably not going to happen either. But as you were talking about when you started there, I was thinking it reminded me a lot of like the pipeline thing where these lawmakers and legislators and congressmen, they all have so many other things going on that they have to legislate. That how can they be subject matter experts on ag policy? And you listen to Cory Booker, he can't pronounce dicamba, and who's the gentleman from Illinois?
I don't know.
He thinks Brazil's the number 2 soybean producer behind us, and it's like that they don't understand some of these fine details. But I'm glad that they're taking a look at it, and there is a big disconnect with ag policies. But I do think like the associations are getting a pretty tough rap right now, that they're not doing enough. Granted, there's more to be doing. We can definitely have a better, stronger voice to represent our members, but I do struggle with that a little bit, that there's this disconnect, and we've got to do a better job of making sure that we bring that connection together.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just don't see where and I agree that no legislator is a subject expert on everything. So when you're there, you have to rely on the ones that know that. This, somebody else knows something else. You got to rely on each other. But I just think they get overwhelmed. Like Secretary Rollins, for instance, she comes to Iowa, she hears one thing. She goes to South Carolina, she's probably hearing something else. North Dakota's hearing something else altogether.
Yeah.
And so, they're national, they represent the whole United States. And then you try to blend all these things that you're hearing and have a good policy. Sometimes that don't work out all that well. Or,
Right.
Who's it good for? Well, it might not be good for anybody if it's too much water got put in it or whatever. But at least they're talking about
I
it.
was thinking about from Illinois, Durbin, I think.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he's yeah. Okay. Well, enough said. But
yeah, you're right. Like Secretary Rollins, man, like she got Southern farmers talking to her in one ear and Northern farmers talking to another, and cattlemen. It'd be a tough job.
Yeah, it's nonstop, and I feel sorry for the young cattle people I know that bought in, but I think they'll be all right. I think that was, and I don't know, would their cattle market back up? I haven't been watching it.
I think it was down pretty good, but like
It had been, but did it turn around at all? It's kind of about the same.
cash market's still pretty strong too, right? Though, which I was thinking about that too, and I don't know if we include this, but like people that were hedging probably came out okay on that deal.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the futures took a big hit. They still had the cat. They were still along the cattle, and the cattle were worth a good price. They could re-own or liquidate them cattle at today's prices and capture that drop on their positions. But
Yeah, I don't know.
we should get we've had a listener too that would like to come on and talk about the there's like I'm a row cropper, so I think crop insurance, but there's a policy or a program that feedlots can use for feeding cattle that gets them some protection. I can't remember what that's. LRP. And we've got a listener that wants to come on and talk about LRP. So hopefully in a few weeks.
That'd work out. I'd like to learn about it.
Yeah.
I got a young man that works with us that took insurance on some cattle he bought. Well, I don't know how it works, but I thought he was crazy when he bought them. But I'm old school. I've seen the diehard cattlemen that never quit, and then right now it's working out good for them. So what do I know? But well, Elliott, it was good to see you.
You too.
Glad we got to recap harvest. We'll have a little more recap next time. Probably I'll actually be done and have some yields and some results. And hope everything goes good in the next week. And listeners, I hope you rush on back for another episode.
Yeah, and if anybody missed it, it was Louie's birthday this week too. So you can give him a belated birthday.
Yeah, well,
happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thanks, listeners.